bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
Welcome to Jalen and Jacoby, in for Jalen Rose, Al Harrington joining us today.
Yes, sir.
We'll have Amin Elhaasan later. Well, Lonzo Ball certainly doesn't suck, but he's not shooting that well.
Right.
He has shot from below 30% from the floor in 8 of his 11 games. He's currently shooting 34.4% from the field. 25% from outside the paint, which is second to last in the NBA amongst qualifying players. On his shooting struggles, he said, quote, "It's in my head, to be honest. I know I can shoot the ball."
Right.
How much of it is in his head? What does he mean by in his head?
Now, I know what he's going through. It's just a confidence thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's doing everything he can. I'm sure he's getting extra shots and everything, but it's just when he get in the game, it's just not working out for him. So it's just one of those things you have to just keep fighting through, and I think he definitely has the shot. I know it's not pretty, but, you know, I think it's efficient and it's effective, so he'll make a couple shots. So
you mentioned his shot and his form. You know, the whole, like, take it from the other hip and shoot it in. You can do that when it's going in, but once you have shooting struggles, you know it's going to start happening, right? Like, someone's going to say he needs to change his shooting form. Like,
of course.
Do you think that conversation is being had?
I'm sure it's being had, but if I was him, I would look at a guy like Kevin Martin. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Martin, the guy that shot from his hip as well and shot at a high clip.
Sean Marion
had a weird shot. There's a bunch of guys that had weird shots. So if I was him, I wouldn't change nothing.
But you got to earn your weird shot. Don't you have to earn your weird shot with the numbers? Exactly.
Like,
that's kind of what my point is.
Right,
it's like Lonzo, you can have a weird shot, but when you have a weird shot and it's not going in, people are going to start asking about your weird shot.
But everybody relax. It's 10 games. It's such a long season. He has 72 more games to play, so I'm not worried about it at all.
You're not worried about him at all?
Not at all.
What about the Lakers in general as a team?
I like the Lakers too. I think they're putting, some nice young pieces together. I like the kid Kuzma a lot. You know what I'm saying? I like Brandon Ingram. The veteran, what they added with I can't remember his name, the big tall, what is his name?
Who? Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez.
Yep.
Brook Lopez. So I like what they're building. I think they'll be okay. They're not going to be, championship contenders anytime soon, but at least they can be fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, they'll have a completely different roster next year, I feel like.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Something tells me that Magic is on the text, and he's going to bring in some big names to join that young roster that you speak of. Well, shout out. Lil Dang is also another veteran on that team. Right. And he has made it very clear that he no longer wants to be on that team. He said, quote, "The only answer for me now is to prove myself away from L.A. I'm not asked to play. I'm not in the rotation, so I can't prove myself there."
Right.
So I want to ask you about this. There's Kyrie Irving demanded a trade. Right. Eric Bledsoe tweeted he didn't want to be here, and all of a sudden he got a trade. Mirotic, it's either Bobby Portis or it's me. Right. And now you have Dang kind of like forcing the organization's hand and not demanding a trade, but sort of like pressing his way out of town.
Right.
Is this new? And what do you think about this practice?
Well, I mean, I've done it before.
Oh.
When I was in Golden State, I didn't get along with Don Nelson. I just knew it wasn't going to work. I knew if I stayed there, I felt like he was going to shorten my career. So I had to put it on myself and had to go in there and tell, I had to tell him first, and he didn't believe it.
What'd you say to him?
I told him, I called him. It was funny. He lives in Maui.
Yes.
So I called him, and I'm like, what's up, coach, or whatever. He's like, hey, Al, I'm just chilling in my pool on a floaty. And I was like, I was like, well, I was called to tell you that I no longer want to be on this team. And he was like, Al, it's going to be different. We lost Barron. I think it's going to be some new leadership roles for you and different things like that. But I added up to here with him at that point, and I was like, look, I want out. So he came back during the season. He made me the captain of the team, all these different things. But I just didn't like him at that point. He rubbed me the wrong way the year before, and I just was like, I need to get out of here. So we played 5 games, and then he called me into the cafeteria. We have like a little cafeteria in Golden State, and he calls me in, and he's like, I want to talk to you. You're going to start backing up Brandon Wright. And I was like, back up who? He's like, Brandon Wright. I was like,
is that the leadership role you had for me?
I'm like, I'm not backing up Brandon Wright. He was like, yes, you are. I said, all right, we'll see. and I never put on a uniform again.
Really? So do you have your agent go to the GM? Like, what's the process?
Well, yeah, you got to call. I could call my agent. My agent was already on board. So it was just at that point, he was just like, well, what you want to do? You willing to get, suspended or fined and everything? And I was like, yes, I do not want to play here anymore under him. So it was one of those things. So it's been going on for a long time. And, I think that, when you have a disgruntled player like that, and especially when they can play, you have to get them out of there because they'll be a distraction to the team.
That's what I wanted to go with this. If you were the GM, if you were the organization, and a player that you wanted on the team that was a key part of your production said, I no longer want to be here, this isn't working, would you acquiesce to that request, or would you say, you know what, you signed a contract, that's just kind of how it goes?
No, it depends. It depends on the guy, and it depends on the team and everything like that. But, when you think about it, unlike a lot of sports, basketball chemistry is huge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you got a guy in there that don't want to be there, it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So, and especially you talking about a guy that is that you need production from. If he's not happy, or you decide just go sit home, that hurts your team. So you're going to have to give him that request.
That makes a lot of sense because there'd be a part of me that'd be like, oh, you want to trade? Like, okay, cool. Like, you know what? I want to live in Maui with Don Nelson, but I don't. So that's just the way life goes. And you sign a contract and you have to play here. That's not how it goes.
It's not how it goes. Not at all.
How disgruntled were you, though? Were you a cancer in the locker room?
No, I was not a cancer. I've never been like that. My teammates, when I left, my teammates were always calling me Steven Jackson, Barron, Monte. No, it's not Barron, sorry, Monte Ellis. They're like, yo, come back, man. It'll be okay. We'll give you the ball. All kind of stuff. But I'm like,
we'll run every play for you.
Like,
we need you. We'll buy you dinner. We'll carry your bags.
To my guns. I do not want to play for that man anymore.
Of late, you've been somewhat of a champion for cannabis and the use of medical marijuana, and you actually have talked to David Stern, and you've suggested that this be off the banned list. Why do you feel so strongly about this?
Because, I just look at it, how it's actually helped me personally. You know what I'm saying? People around me, my grandmother, she suffered from glaucoma and diabetes, all kind of eye pressure, pain all the time. I introduced her to cannabis, and it completely changed her life. You know what I'm saying? It upgraded the quality of life for her. Even myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of the guys that had 14 surgeries in my career.
Wow. For
7.5 years, I was on anti-inflammatories every day just to be able to cope with pain and inflammation and stuff like that. And then I found cannabis, and I feel like it's something that's all natural. It's something that, when you think of all the pharmaceutical drugs and the clinical risks and stuff like that, opioid epidemic and stuff like that, with cannabis, I feel like you don't have any of that. So, I just feel like that the NBA or all sports leagues should give players an option, an alternative way to medicate themselves to a lot of the issues that they deal with.
So when you say you introduced your grandmother to it, you didn't pass her a bong.
No.
You know what I mean? So explain to our audience and to me what you mean by that when you're and how it helped you.
Right. Well, so I'll just use my grandmother first. She had come to see me while I was playing for the Denver Nuggets, so the medical program had just got going there. So I was one of those guys that always read the paper after every win or loss or whatever, just to see what the media
Everybody
had to say.
does that, by the way.
What George
every
had to
single
say,
player does that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So every day it was articles about marijuana in it. You know what I'm saying? And all the benefits and just all the regulations, everything that was going on with it. And when she came to see me, I was like, Grandma, well, they have medical marijuana here that helps with glaucoma. And she's like, well, you better get out of here. I ain't smoking no reefer.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, I ain't smoking no reefer. This out there. So I was like, all right, Grandma. She was really totally against it. So the next day I came home. I had a game that day. She was sitting in the same spot in my kitchen. I said, Grandma, you sure you don't want to just give it a try? I'm like, you have all this medication here and you're still sitting here in pain. Just give it a try. So we talked for about an hour, and she said, you know what? I'm in so much pain, I'll try anything today. So I had my boy go and get us some Vietnam Kush is what it was called. We vaporized it for her, actually. Took her in the garage. She hit it 2 or 3 times. What was funny about that was that, most times when people hit, vapor stuff like that, they cough. She's like, I'm like, hey, Grandma, you sure? You ain't tried this yet? But I took her downstairs. I took my nap. I woke up an hour and a half later, knocked on the door. Her back was to the door, and she was looking down. So I said, Grandma, you okay? And she turned around. She had tears in her eyes, man. And she was just like, I'm healed. She said, I haven't been able to see the words in my Bible in over 3 years. And I started crying too, just seeing her cry or whatever. And at that point, I realized that it was bigger than just people just getting high, that this was actually medicine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I had my issues. I had staph infection in my knee. I had to have 6 surgeries to clean it all out.
Wow.
And, obviously I'm on pain meds, I'm on everything. And I had this lady come up, and then she introduced me to the creams and to the tinctures or whatever, just straight CBD, where you don't have to smoke anything. And
those are non-psychotropic, right?
And
those
non-psychotropic
are just,
and cannabinoids. they have an anti-inflammatory effect in the body and stuff like that with the receptors and stuff like that. And I have not used an anti-inflammatory. I have not used Advil or anything since. I've been medicating myself purely through cannabis. And I played in the Big Three this summer. I've been able to compete at a high level still, and just everyday life is just great.
When you say compete at a high level, do you mean compete high?
No, at a high level.
Got you. Correct. So you spoke with David Stern.
Right.
And let's take a look at a clip, because we talked about this on the show.
I bought something for you.
Oh, okay.
I actually bought some creams for you to actually
I'm
try.
not going to get arrested on my way out.
I promise you won't.
All right, you promise.
I put it in a bag that's,
Okay, so it looks like a bagel.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Okay, that's good.
That's
good.
You got a bagel bag for me? You bring a bagel bag for me?
Of course.
You got a bagel bag for everybody?
We in Cali. That's easy.
So, do you think David Stern used the bagel bag? Did he walk out with it?
He definitely walked out with it.
He walked out with it.
He definitely walked out with it.
Okay, good. Who knows where? Who knows? He's retired, though.
Right.
He's got a lot of free time.
He may have left it in the Uber.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he didn't even use it in the Uber. Maybe it's like a week later. He was like, what should I do today? Where's that bagel bag that Al Harrington gave me? That'd be really helpful right now.
I need to ask him. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually going to meet with him in 2 weeks. Me and him are going to go to lunch, so I'll find out and I'll let you know next time you invite me.
Here's how you know if he used it. Did he call the meeting or did you? Because if he called the meeting, that means you're his plug.
I called.
Okay. Next on the Uninterrupted Network, and you can see the whole story at uninterrupted.com. There's a show called Kneading Dough. It's hosted by Maverick Carter, who's LeBron's business partner and friend, and also a friend of this program. And Maverick's guest on this episode was Ben Simmons, and he had this to say about his college experience.
If I was as talented as you, would I see a point in that 6 or 7 months of being there?
And I think no. I think I would have learned a lot more being around professional athletes. Looking at it now, I don't even really know what I learned financially or just being a person at LSU. I think I've learned a lot more with this whole year being in Philly and being a pro than I did at LSU.
You went straight to the pros yourself.
Correct.
What do you think about what Ben Simmons said? What do you think about the one-and-done policy?
I agree with him. I think the one-and-done policy makes no sense. I don't understand it. Like, what is it accomplishing? I feel like the NBA, if anything, they're doing it just because they gives them another year to look at the talent before they jump out there and draft a high school kid with the first 5 picks, or one of the first 5 picks. But when you look at the history of the high school players, we're very successful. I would say
for the most part.
We're batting at it. Got to be an 80%, batting average. You know what I'm saying? Of guys that, played more than 5 years and actually had really good careers. You know what I'm saying? So for me, if a kid can play, let them play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, we can go and fight for our country in every other sport except for, and vote and everything. But, the only other sport obviously is football, that you can't come out of high school. But, baseball, hockey, everything else, I don't understand what was the issue.
So, not Commissioner Stern, your friend, but Commissioner Silver has sort of just sort of dabbled in potentially having a 1 year in the G League, sort of kind of be a compromise. Would that work for you?
That'll work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's better than these kids going to school and not going to school. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they do just enough to be eligible to play, and then as soon as the season's over, they leave the school anyway. So at the end of the day, to me, they didn't accomplish anything.
Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. Mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
Al, the reason you're hearing this beat behind us is because our producer Reg is very astute.
Right.
And he cares a lot about what's going on in the world, especially in the world of hip-hop. 24 years ago today, the Wu-Tang Clan and the rest of us entered the 36 chambers.
Man.
Where were you then? Were you playing? So that's 24 years ago. My math isn't great. I'm going to say 93.
Yeah, I was 13 years old. What was I doing?
Were you listening
to this?
What grade is
that? Yeah, I was definitely listening to it for sure.
So
I'm trying to think, was it a CD or a cassette, though?
It was a cassette. I was in Western Massachusetts.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But we still managed to figure out what was hot in hip-hop. And what came out first was Protect Your Neck and Method Man.
Right.
And those two songs came out before everything dropped. And though it was like the second you heard those songs, it was so impactful that we knew that something big was going to come from this album.
Wu-Tang.
We were thirsty. I remember they came out Tuesdays. You remember that when new albums came out Tuesdays? So you would go to the record store on Tuesday and get the new thing. They should do that now. I don't like it when you never know when things are going to drop. Like all of a sudden it's like, hey, Beyonce just dropped a 4-hour documentary film and it's also a music video and it's also an album. It's like, can we all do this on Tuesdays?
Man, the world's changed so much, man. Damn.
It has. Thank you so much. Shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan. They got a new album. The saga continues. It sounds just like this one.
Does it?
Yes, I'm telling you, it does. It's got the karate flick intros and skits. It sounds the same. The beat's the same. The look on your face says you don't believe me, Al.
When did it come out? On Tuesday?
It didn't come out on Tuesday, but it came out like last Tuesday.
I gotta hear it.
You gotta hear it. I know
man.
It's not being talked about that much outside of this program, but it is a traditional Wu-Tang album. One of my favorites. Redman is on there. Sean Price is on there. It's good, man. Ghostface all over it.
Yeah.
Ray.
I'm going to listen to it when I get in the car.
Listen to it. The saga continues.
For sure.
We continue here on Jalen Jacoby, Al Harrington in for Jalen Rose. Talk to you about the NBA a little bit.
All right.
And some players that are making the leap. You know, because there's a lot of focus on the rookies. I hear a lot of talk about the rookie crop. It seems like it is a good rookie crop with a lot of potential, but there's certainly some players that are now making the leap, one of which is Kristaps Porzingis, scoring 30 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, shooting 51% from the floor, 38% from three. He's like 7'9". He's shooting three-pointers. When you watch his game, what do you think?
Godzingas.
Yes.
You know, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I grew up, rooting for my Knicks, so I'm happy. I actually known Porzingis, from when he was like maybe 15 years old.
Really?
He used to come to Vegas and work out with us. So when we drafted him, everybody booed, but I knew what kind of player we was getting because even though he was skinny and weak and all that type of stuff, he never backed down. Not one day. Every day he was trying to come at us. He just couldn't physically do it, but I knew that he was not scared, and I thought it was a great pick, and you see it starting to come to fruition.
What was he like as a young 16-year-old playing in Vegas from Latvia?
Very timid, didn't speak much, what I'm saying, was just in awe of being around us, you know what I'm saying, because if you know by his pedigree, he knows a lot about the NBA and about the players and stuff like that.
His brother played.
Yeah, but he was real quiet, didn't say much, but just when we played, he went out there and he played hard.
I love Porzingis. I'm what I call a die easy Knick fan.
Right.
When they're good, I'm in, and when they're bad, I'm out. I'm not one of those die hard. I'm a bandwagon front running fan.
Where do you go though?
Huh?
Where do you go when they're bad?
I lived in. Where do I go? Clippers. You know what I mean? Or Celtics. I go back to my Celtics because I grew up there. So I go. I'm a different type of fan.
Celtics, but you can't do none of the LA teams.
Yeah, but there's something about being in Madison Square Garden that you can't help it. Our office was on 34th Street, right down the block, for years. So we would just kind of get $15 tickets and go sit in the second section. Sweet. It was terrible. It was great.
No, when I played there, it was a dream for me, man. I was so nervous before every game. My biggest fear when I played for the Knicks was being booed. I was just like, I cannot get booed in the Garden because I know how the fans are. Once they get on that boo wagon, it'll carry on the rest of the season. One game could turn into 60 games.
Yes.
So for me, I can't say my 2 years in the Knick uniform, I never was once booed.
You were getting buckets those 2 years.
You
were getting a lot of buckets. I think you were the first option on offense.
No. It was something like that. Yeah. But I came off the bench though.
With Steve Francis and Eddie Curry,
I didn't play with
those
none
years.
Of them. No, I was with David Lee, Nate Robinson, Chris Duhon,
later.
And then we had all kind of guys coming in and out. We had Larry Hughes. We had T-Mac came for a couple days. Jared Jeffrey. So we wasn't really that good.
No, but you got buckets though.
Yeah, I got buckets.
That's when you had the shoes out too, right?
Yeah, the Proteges.
Talk to me about the shoes.
It was the shoes were kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? They were kind of heavy. You know what I'm saying? I would say they definitely better than the big baller brands. They're definitely higher quality.
Okay.
No, I'm just
cheaper.
joking. I'm joking.
Price point's different. Price point's
different. Shout out to Big Baller brand. But it was cool. I was at I had them in Kmart. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I made it for the people. I just wanted for kids to be able to buy an affordable shoe and still feel good about wearing it because they can say, look, the guy that get all the buckets for the Knicks wear those shoes. So I just wanted to give kids that confidence to be able to wear
was that
$30
after or
shoe.
before the Starberries?
That was after.
After the Starberries. Because I thought that was a cool little movement because the price points were getting so high. I mean, Shaq kind of did this first. I think he did like a shoe with Payless or something.
With Payless, right.
Yeah, so it was nice to see people saying, look, I don't want to put a shoe out that costs $150 and have children
and big shout out to Stephon Marbury. He definitely inspired me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Seeing the movement that he did and seeing that it worked and You know, I seen it. You know, I went with him on a couple of his tours and just seeing how the people reacted to it. And then when his Stephen Barry deal went bad, I was just like, you know what? I'll do the same thing, and it actually worked.
Have you ever considered China? See Holland trying to get you out there?
I played in China.
You did? I didn't know that. Where?
My first year out of the league, I went to China. I only made it 56 days, though.
Why?
It's not the NBA. I was spoiled.
Really?
Hotels, flights, people, food. I couldn't do it.
What was the phone call? So will you call your agent on the 55th day and said what?
I didn't even call my agent. I went to the owner of the team directly with a translator. I was like, tell this man, send me home.
You made it very clear.
Very clear. I went
need
around
a plane
everybody.
ticket.
Yes.
I don't care about contracts.
To the U.S. I don't care about the money.
Me.
Yes. All money's not good money.
Don't worry. I will leave. What was it about the conditions? Like, what was it really that didn't sit with you out there?
To be honest, you know what I'm saying? After I got home, I wish I would have stayed, to be honest, just because of the basketball part. The basketball part of it was fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like playing in high school again, where I had to do everything. I had to rebound, I had to play point guard, I had to be the center, I had to be everything. So it allowed me to kind of open my game up again. When you can play in the NBA, a lot of time, you know, they put you in spots, so they just give you a role. You know what I'm saying?
Stay in
China,
the corner.
there's no role. You know what I'm saying? As the American, go get buckets, make us win. You know what I'm saying? But just living there, man, like I'll never forget. You know, it's obviously really cloudy there all the time. So we in the plane, we're in the clouds, and then we started ascending into my city, and I'm looking out the window like, what the hell is down there? And I knew when I landed, even though they had about 2,000 people at the airport there for me or whatever, I said, there's no way I'm gonna make it here for 4 months, and I made it 56 days. I'm proud of that.
Shout out to the 2,000 people that made it to the airport, though, for Harrington.
Big shout out to the 2,000 people. Yeah, for sure. They showed me love.
What did your agent say when you told him?
No, he was just like,
whatever.
Yeah, what could he say?
Yeah.
I'm the boss. He worked for me.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to me a little bit about your Big Three experience. And, you know, last year, all the buckets that you got, championship.
Yeah. That was fun, man. It's funny, man. You know, me and Kmart was the captains or whatever. And you know, you can ask any guy that was a part of the Big Three that when we drafted our team, we said to everyone that we was going to go undefeated and win it. And we did that. You know what I'm saying? Which was surprising. It kind of surprised me a little bit.
I was about to say, winning is one thing, but
to go undefeated was
definitely,
I mean, you think we were going to have one bad week or whatever. Then Kenyon got hurt the first week of the season and stuff like that. But, you know, we had too much. You know what I'm saying? We had two unbelievable scorers. We had a third player that was an unbelievable glue guy, which was James White.
Yep.
You know, he made every open shot, and he defended the best player on the other team every time. So I think just the way our team was structured, you know what I'm saying? So big shout out to Kmart, myself, and Rick Mahorn. We put a great team together, and you know, we won it.
So I thought it was a very successful launch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've sort of been in the media business for 17 years. One thing I understand is the first time you do something is the worst time you do something.
Sir.
You know,
sir.
but I would say for a first year, I thought it was very successful.
Yep.
How do you see it changing and evolving for next year?
I think it's going to be even better. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if you look at the week one, it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us was even thinking like, are we even going to, are we physically going to be able to?
It was like 7 hours in Brooklyn or something. Yeah.
Like, are we physically going to be able to do this? But if you see every week it got better, and the reason why I think is because guys took it serious. You know what I'm saying? I think that when we first started, we probably all did feel like it's kind of, you know, pick up and just play and whatever. But guys came out there and was going after each other and talking trash and everything. So guys, you know, took it very seriously. So I think next year everybody's going to be in better shape. And I think year 2 is going to be unbelievable. And it's live.
Do you think, it's going to be live on television?
It's going to be live this year.
On Sundays?
Yeah, actually Friday nights. It's
on ESPN, right?
No,
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
some other network?
Yeah, some other network.
Some other network. I forgot
Big
what it's
shout
called.
out to... No.
I forgot what network that was on. So one thing, when I watched it, I enjoyed it because it was a different type of basketball, and I liked watching you guys compete as hard as you did. But I think the casual fan is going to say, "Oh, we need bigger names." Do you think that those KGs and Paul Pierces and that sort of thing will start to come?
For sure. You know, I don't think KG. I don't think we can get enough money together for him to play. He told me a Brinks truck wouldn't be enough. So I guess KG's out. But I think we got a good chance with Paul. You know what I'm saying? I think especially because we might be moving the games to Friday, so guys don't have to go up their whole weekend to do it. So I think that's big. Baron Davis, I'm about to sign him to our team. It's looking like Meta World Peace just signed. Gilbert Arenas is probably going to sign with someone. Who else we got out there? Bill Russell. Bill Russell is no.
I was like, I've seen some old dudes play ball, get buckets, but I don't know if Bill Russell. What do we have to do to get Jalen out there?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. You know, so what is he dealing with? What made Jalen retire? knees.
Oh,
back.
no, couldn't get buckets anymore.
Couldn't get buckets anymore. Well, yeah, well, Jalen don't want no problem.
Yeah.
He don't want no smoke.
On this show, we have a motto, Al. Part of giving the people what they want is asking them what they want to hear from us. So we've opened up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed. We've gone to our Reddit subreddit, and we've opened up the voicemail lines. We've got some questions for you and for me. The first thing we're going to do is hit up our voicemail. Reggie, what's the first voicemail?
What up, Jalen Jacoby? It's Weston here from Indianapolis, Indiana. I got a question for you. Do you think the Pacers are going to make the playoffs?
You can always get on the show if you have your kid call in. It's 100 times out of 100. You know it's his dad. It's just like, no, he's like, you said that wrong. It's like, it's the Indiana Pacers, not Makers. You're a former Pacer.
Right.
I'm a Lance Stevenson fan.
Okay.
And they sort of seemed like after the Paul George trade, they were trying to, bottom out and get some picks and this and that. But Victor Oladipo has been balling, and Miles Turner's back, and they're winning games. Do you think they could make the playoffs?
Anything is possible in the East.
Yes.
It's still early. If they stay healthy, I think they got a shot. I'd say they got a shot.
They could. And what happened? The East, I look at the East like this. You got 1, 2, Cavs, Celtics. Then you've got a group of 3, Raptors, Wizards, Bucks. Then you've got 3 playoff spots.
Wide open.
It's just like, I think the Magic seem to be performing well so far, but they could fall apart. The Hornets could go either way with their season. There's a lot of teams. Yeah. Oh, Detroit's in. So I'll give them another spot. They've been playing so well. So that's 6th.
Early.
Yeah, you got 2 spots that are just like, they're going to get filled.
We could put a big 3 team in there and get one of them spots.
You could. One thing I know about retired basketball players, like, they're never like, nah, I'm not that good anymore. I don't have it. You know what I mean? No retired basketball players ever said that. Like, oh, I'm good. I don't have it anymore.
The reason why we're 400 out of 300 million people is because we have no concept of reality.
Yes.
That's the reason why.
That's
so you
is.
You think we're ever going to get that?
And that's what I always remember about NBA players. I'm like, that was the best player on his junior high team. You know what I mean? When he was 10, he was the best player.
Right.
And then he went to college and he was the best player.
Right.
And now he's in the NBA. He still thinks he's the best player.
Exactly. It never goes away.
And here you are, years removed. You think you should be on an NBA roster. Be honest with me.
No, I don't think so. Not anymore.
For real?
I played at UCLA this summer with all them boys.
Oh, yeah?
Man, it was like playing it fast forward. I said, nah, it's over for me. I went up there one day all summer.
You're going back to China?
Yeah. I don't think I can play in China at this point.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us. Next question we have, this is from Big Crown. Big Crown is a mail carrier. We call him one of our producers because he hits us up so much. Shout out to Big Crown. Greatest mail carrier around. I think he's in Chicago. Al, is your game enhanced when you use medicinal? And does the Big 3 have rules against lighting up?
Well, no, I've never played high, so I don't know. I can't, I don't know if I'm better when I'm high or not. Never done it before. And the Big 3, if it had rules in that, I don't think it would be a Big 3.
Okay. They don't have a drug testing program, no random test in the Big 3?
No, we don't have one, but I don't think we need one either.
If you test negative, they kick you out of the league. Is that how it works?
I hope not. It might not be a league. No, I don't know.
Lobster Statue has a question. What new players do you hope to see join the Big 3?
I hope we get Paul Pierce. I hope we get Baron Davis.
How's that conversation go? Like, I know that you hit up Paul Pierce and said something.
No, well, Paul said something to me. You know what I'm saying? We actually neighbors. And he pulled me aside one day like, yo, what you think about that Big 3? I'm like, I love it. I'm dominating. He was like, I was like, this would be perfect for you, P. This would be a great way to, leave your legacy, let it linger a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? We already know you're going to be a Hall of Famer and everything. Mm-hmm. So come on and play in Big 3. So he's definitely thinking about it, and I think he'd be a great addition.
Yep. He's got a lot of work, though. He's working for us now.
Yeah, but that's the summertime is no basketball.
Yeah, we
so
he
got
probably
going
get
on.
out there.
Yeah, he'd be good. He'd be good. Chauncey played. Y'all got Chauncey too.
He did. That was when he was considering the Cavs GM spot.
Right. He was playing and thinking about running the team, kind of balling.
He probably heard about the Kyrie thing. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, he was like, that sounds like work.
Yeah.
I got to trade Kyrie Irving. I got to make LeBron happy. Like, that's work. I'm not just sit next to Jalen Rose and Michelle Beadle and talk about hoops.
Exactly.
In a nice
smart.
suit.
Chauncey's very smart, as we all know.
As we do. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail, and if you do, we'll play it on the show just like this.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? This your boy B from Berkeley, California. Question. I've been doing Uber for about a month now, and I've been listening to Sade, and everybody loves Sade. I mean, no one ever complains about Sade. I'm trying to find the next Sade. My conclusion was Alicia Keys, but it's just not Sade. Who would you guys recommend? And then my next question, if you get in the Uber and I'm listening to Sade or Alicia Keys, would you ask me to change it? Would you want to plug in your music? How do I go about that? Do I ask, do you guys want to listen to something else when you get in the car? Maybe if it's like an hour ride, you know, be like, hey, y'all want to listen to something? Or if it's like a 10-minute ride, we're just going to bump to Sade and hit the block, you know? So what do you guys think? Who's the next Sade? Is it Alicia Keys or what? And when you guys get in the Uber, do you guys personally like to play up your own music, or will you guys just bump whatever I'm bumping and hit the block? All right. Keep getting them checks. Shout out Red. Shout out to the whole staff. Get the people what they want.
Good question. I don't know who the next Sade is. I think he might be closest with Alicia Keys. Our producer Reg says Janae Eiko. Janelle Monáe I'm going to go with. I love Janelle Monáe. And so one thing we talk about a lot on this show, and I'm glad you're here because we have some new perspective, is Uber etiquette.
Right.
Now, my man B in Berkeley is an Uber driver.
Okay.
B, first of all, you should be listening to the Jalen Jacoby podcast and encouraging all of your passengers to subscribe.
For sure.
That's one thing you should be listening to because much like Sade, everyone loves Jalen Jacoby.
Amen.
But when you are in an Uber, do you want the driver to talk to you?
No.
How do you communicate to the driver that you do not want that to happen?
I have these new wireless AirPods.
Oh, I got those. I love those.
I just leave them in. May not even have them on.
That's a good thing about those is that sometimes I put them in if I just don't want to talk to somebody.
Just ignore them. Yeah. He's like, hey, how you doing? Where you going? Or how's the day outside? I act like I'm here.
Yeah, for me, it's just like, how many one-word answers do I need to give you before it turns into 0 words? You know what I mean? Like, they could ask the most complicated questions, like, so what do you think about the tax reform thing? I'll just be like, don't. And then he'll ask me a follow-up. It's like, this is a one-word answer.
You should have seen. I was in Indianapolis 2 days ago. Went to see my little brother play, and I got in the Uber to the airport. And the guy I get in, and he's like, "Welcome to Uber One. Buckle your seatbelt. Maybe a little turbulent. This, that." He's like trying to be funny,
doing the whole thing,
and I'm just sitting there like.
And you know, the next time he picks somebody up, he does the exact same routine too.
Oh, he had it down.
Yeah, and you know that no one's ever laughed at it. You know, no one's ever laughed at it, but he thinks it's hilarious, so he just keeps doing it
every time.
I want my Uber driver to be quiet,
right?
And but one thing I do like is I like the little knickknacks that they have. Like they have snacks and stuff.
Yeah, those
they
are
got
the good
chargers.
Ones. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I want the people that care about me. And to answer B's question, no one's ever going to ask you to change Sade. I don't care if it's an old white lady or a young Asian person, gender, ethnicity, age. Yep. It does not matter. Sade is there.
She is good.
She is there. And B, but really just play Jalen Jacoby podcast.
For sure. Give the people what they want.
That's what the people want. Let's listen to another voicemail. Reg?
Jalen Jacoby, what up, though? It's Craig, calling from Ohio. Want to give a big shout out to Reg, the whole crew. 2 questions for you guys, both of those involving my Detroit Pistons. Question number 1, what's more surprising so far this year? The Pistons' hot start, currently sitting at 8-3, second in the Eastern Conference, or Andre Drummond's emergence of being at least a proficient foul shooter? Question number 2, do you think they can sustain this level of play over the course of the year? Like, are we looking at between an 8 and a 6 seed, or am I just being over-ambitious, thinking at least a 4 or 5 seed, maybe clinching home court advantage, or is that just a field test? Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.
I like that Craig's a big Pistons fan in Ohio, too.
Yeah.
So Craig's question is, can the Detroit Pistons stay this hot, and is the heat of the Pistons or the proficiency of Andre Drummond from the free throw line more surprising?
For me, it's the free throw line.
Yeah.
From the big fella.
Yeah.
Surprising.
I mean, I think he was like 0 for 7 in his last game or something.
Yeah.
He brought those numbers down.
Yeah, he brought
But I think
down.
he was using virtual reality goggles or something.
Is that what he did?
Yes, we reported it on the show at one point that he was using virtual reality goggles. And I just kind of giggled when I heard that. I've never used virtual reality goggles, but I can't imagine it would make me a better free throw shooter.
Right.
But look at him now.
They got too much money, man.
Good for him. I also read he was 24. I forgot he was 24.
Oh, is he still only 24
Yeah,
too?
he's 24. So because sometimes
looks 30.
When he does, he looks 34.
He looks 34.
He looks 34. But when I watch him, I have a lot of complaints about his game. I just, he's got the size and the ability to be a little bit better. But then I read he's 24. I'm like,
he got a lot of. I didn't know he was only 24.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I say a lot of wrong things on this show.
Wow. If he's only 24, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the free throws is definitely a biggest surprise.
Absolutely. The free throws are the biggest surprise. Craig, I forgot your second question.
Can they sustain?
Yep. Well, no. Oh, yeah. He said it's going to be a 6, 7, or 8 seed for the Pistons. The 1 through 5 is going to be the 5 teams I mentioned: the Cavs, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Wizards, and the Raptors.
Yeah, you're right.
I think those are the top 5, in whatever order.
Yeah, they'll be 6 or 7. They might be 6.
They could be 6.
Think about it,
right now, it seems like I'd say 6, 7, or 8. Definitely not 4 or 5. I don't think
our Knicks is going to be 8.
You think so?
Our Knicks are going to get in this year.
You think so?
Yes, sir.
You think so?
Yes, sir.
I'm not so sure.
Let's bet it.
There's a lot of Kyle Quinn out there. You know what I mean? There's a Ron Baker.
Big shout out to my nephew.
Just like a lot. There's a lot of like Joakim Noah's coming back. There's a lot of like.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, man.
I love Porzingis.
Hey, look, Joakim coming back on a mission.
We'll see.
He got a lot to prove.
We'll see.
I like a guy that has
Hell's Kitchen Zone. Hell's Kitchen Zone.
For sure.
The stick man from
Let's
Hell's
go,
Kitchen.
Joe.
I want to thank you so much for coming by, Al. I really appreciate it. Coming up next on Jalen Jacoby, Amin Elhaasan is joining us. I want to thank Al Harrington for coming by. Right now, we have Amin Elhaasan. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
No, thanks for having me.
We're going to play Soft Move or Boss Move.
Love this game.
Let's do it. Drake did a revealing interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He revealed a lot of things. I like it. He revealed a lot of things, that he's going to take some time off to do some acting and blah, 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 blah. All that matters is this. He said that he has been collecting Birkin bags for his future wife. What? Soft move or boss move?
Boss move.
You like it?
You know what, man? Look, I'm not saying that I would use his tactics, but I like the strategy there, because now every single woman he comes into contact with has in her head, yes, I could be the one, I could be Mrs. Graham, and I get all those bags.
Yes, yes.
So it's just kind of like, it's really kind of an inducement, or what do they call it?
Enticing. I think it also, like, first of all, I just want to go down this road. Maybe it's not true. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? You just throw that out there. You can just throw it out there, and all of a sudden you become a lot more attractive to a lot more people.
Because it sounds plausible.
There's a whole
also.
cachet. Like, he's got a whole wing of his house is full of Birkin bags. I don't even know what a Birkin bag looks like.
So I don't either. My wife was explaining this to me today.
Oh,
unrelated to the story. We were just talking about.
She sent you a link. Like, this is what I want for Christmas.
Well, yeah. She said there are bags, and then they have bags that you have to go into the store and request by name. Like, if you went to the store and looked at all their bags,
off menu.
Yeah, they've got some off menu bags and stuff like that. So this is actually really smart for him. Because, like you said, he never actually has to.
You never know.
buy.
Yeah, you know when like some girl's over his house and he goes to the bathroom, they're like looking around for the bags.
Yeah,
they're going through the closet and everything. Next, Selfhack.com founder Joe Cohen is willing to pay $10,000 to anyone who can find him a long-term girlfriend.
Oh, Lord.
And he's offering up a reward of $2,000 to anyone who introduces him to another person that can find him a long-term partner. I actually clicked on this link. And he has a very detailed breakdown of what he's looking for, what his personality traits are, and it's like 7,000 words. It's like an old Bill Simmons column. It's like just long and detailed. And I started to think, like, maybe this is the problem.
That is.
Joe Cohen, $10,000 reward, soft move or boss move?
Soft move, man. We talked about it yesterday, right? There's a caller who asked, how can I talk to this kid in high school right now? This guy's a grown man.
He's grown.
And you still haven't figured out the keys to life of just being yourself, really, at the end of the day, because you want the person who wants to be with you, not some character you created or whatever.
What about this, though? Convincing your homegirl to date this dude for 4 months to get the 10 racks, soft move or boss move.
That would be a boss move for that person, yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like that move.
We got to train them.
And then we have this. Paul Wall, the People's Champ.
Shout out to Paul Wall.
The People's Champ. Shout out. You know, he's famously a son of Houston, Texas.
Yep.
They just won a World Series. He went out and did this to himself. He's got the worst trophy in all sports tattooed on his back. Don't like the World Series trophy. So,
I don't know what the
move
flags represent, but
or boss move. The flags represent each team. Soft move or boss move.
I'm gonna
getting the World Series tat.
I'm gonna go boss move, man. I'm gonna go boss move because look. I'm from New York. The Yankees win every 4 years on average,
exactly.
So it's not a big deal for me. But like,
gain 100 pounds.
All they got is those 2 Rocket championships. So like,
See, one thing about the tat though is, I don't think it says the word Astros on it.
No?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it just has, like, if you look, like, I didn't see any specific Astros stuff.
Wait, what's it? Oh, it just says champions.
Like, where's the Astros part?
It never actually says Astros World
That's
champion.
what I'm saying. That's why I'm going soft move on that. Celebrating the sounds of the 36 Chambers. 8 men who made Staten Island cool. The Wu-Tang Clan. Came out 24 years ago today. Do you remember when this came out? Is this a thing for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
94?
Yeah, absolutely.
This was a big thing for me. They had Protect Your Neck and Method Man had already come out, so we were primed for it.
Protect Your Neck was the posse cut.
And then Method Man was the greatest thing you'd ever heard. If you listen to that song, Method Man, and he's actually done an interview and said this, he's like, I hate that song. It's not about anything. And if you listen to it again, you're like, that song is really about nothing. Yeah. Like, you're talking about peanut butter.
Hey,
it's just
you
like,
get off my cloud.
Yeah, it's just
you don't know me, you don't know my style.
Yeah, it's just like, it honestly makes no points. It's just like SpongeBob of like hip hop, but it's cool.
You know what I mean, look, God rest his soul, but Old Dirty Bastard, man, a lot of his verses were amazing and about absolutely
They're abstract paintings.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They're abstract paintings that you want to sit and look at.
Yeah.
They're just beautiful abstract paintings. You know what I mean? It's like David Hockney. Like, this painting speaks to me, but it doesn't say anything, you know?
I keep MCs looking out. I drop signs like Cosby dropping babies. Enough to make her go crazy.
We always say we give the people what they want on this show. And part of doing so is opening up our voicemail box in our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, taking questions from you, our listeners. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on the show just like this.
What's up, fellas? This is Mike calling from Reno. I'm listening to the podcast as we speak at my desk. I'm listening to the phone call from Joel saying that Tupac is trash. I'm not going to roast him for that because I get where he's coming from. Tupac was good, but I wanted to give him the counter is I feel like Biggie was trash. Oh, I know that's blasphemy, and it's not about East Coast, West Coast, because even though I live in Reno, I'm from New York. And, you know, I rooted for Biggie during the beef, but at the same time, when I look back on it, he's overrated. Not as good as Hov, not even as good as Pac. Oh, and also, Cameron is the GOAT. Take that, Reg. Peace.
Someone else must have done the voicemails today. Because I know that Reggie would never let Cameron is the GOAT appear on this program consensually. I love that call. I love Mike. Shout to Mike in Reno.
Shout out.
I'm going to say the same thing I said before, is I don't get in my feelings about someone else's opinion, especially when it comes to taste for something so subjective as music. You know, it's like, it's however, like, I go to museums, I look at paintings, I'm like, that is dumb. Like, someone's buying this for $3 million. Like, I wouldn't even put this up in my bathroom. It's subjective. If you think Biggie trash, that's fine. I will say this as a huge Biggie supporter, he didn't bat 1,000. He didn't bat 1,000 when he got on the mic. There's some whack Biggie verses out there. And you'll find them. When he featured on other people's songs, sometimes he mailed it in. Slow mail, snail mail, the Big Crown delivered. Coming back for more, Amin Elhaasan. He's back. We're here at the LAPC in Los Angeles. ESPN, we have a building here in the LA Live Complex. So sometimes you've got meetings to go to. You got to get snacks. You got to leave. I'm glad you're back, Amin. We just had a caller, Mike. This all stems from one of your previous appearances here.
Uh-huh.
Because Jalen Rose doesn't allow any Tupac slander on the program.
Really?
But when he's gone, when the cat's away,
we get it in.
And I may or may not have shared my opinions about Mr. Shakur of recent.
Volume shooter.
Yes, volume shooter.
Yeah.
And Mike from Reno called in, and he thinks that Biggie is trash. And I said, you know what? It's all subjective. Like, I don't get mad about other people's opinions.
I don't.
Like, whatever you feel is what you feel.
I don't, but I also figure that anyone who thinks Biggie is trash themselves.
Yeah. Really?
Dude,
see, I was just like, I don't care about other people's things, but it doesn't bother me, and now you're just going to go the other way.
Yeah, I know. Like, I say that, but deep down, no, I judge the hell out of people. I mean, we were having this conversation on my podcast, the Black Opinions Matter podcast, and we were talking about if you listen to Puffy's first album, No Way Out.
Okay.
Biggie was on 2 tracks, 3 tracks, 2 tracks, definitely. Victory and Young G's. And if you listen, and this is literally like the last stuff he was recording right before he died.
Mm-hmm.
The level of wordplay and the stuff that he's doing there, it's like watching the Warriors last night beat up on the Timberwolves without Kevin Durant. It's like, well, wait, when they do have Kevin Durant, oh my God, then it's light years ahead to use their term. That's what he was like rapping. That's what I think of. You know, when you think about that first in the commission, you ask for permission to hit him. Like all the stuff that he's doing there is like there's nobody who was rapping like that back then, and even now there's really nobody I can think of who had that kind of mastery of flow and delivery and storytelling.
He's not like a great wordsmith. You know what I mean? Biggie? Yeah, like I wouldn't look at him as somebody like a Nas where it was just like, oh, like he must have like gone over these lyrics over and over with a fine-tooth comb, and like it wasn't that. It was more like an overall feeling that you got from his voice and his look and feel.
Because his flow was incredible, and the flow is kind of the thing that is like the intangibles of basketball, right? You don't know what it is, but you know, just putting everybody in a rhythm and in a good spot. But beyond that, I think his storytelling, the dude was such an incredible storyteller. It was like watching a movie, listening to him rap. And so, you know, any song, if you go to I Got a Story to Tell, obviously, you talk about, you know, he's got so many tracks where he's telling a story. You know, Give Me the Loot, obviously, Warning.
With him and Bleak, what was that called? Come Up, I Came Up.
Oh, that's the Coming of Age.
That's Jay-Z. Yeah, you're right.
The one I'm thinking about, Sky's the Limit, when he's talking about, I'm sewing tigers on my shirts. It's an alligator. Do you want to see the inside? I'll see you later. With the fake. Wow, why you hit me? Like, that's he's telling a story about him as a kid, and you see the little kids, and hey, isn't that the guy with the fake shirt? And then he punches the kid because he's talking trash about what he's wearing and stuff.
Mike and Reno is so upset with you.
Mike and Reno, you're trash, Mike and Reno.
Oh, I love you, Mike and Reno.
No, man.
I love you, Mike and Reno. Anyone who listens to the Jalen Jacoby podcast is not trash.
I got lawyers watching lawyers, so I won't go broke.
I got your back. Mike and Reno, I got your back. We have some questions for you here on our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed. Brian, we don't do a lot of inside baseball topics here, but this is a good question. People want to know. Give people what they want. Brian says, what's the best part of your job as an NBA analyst?
Oh, this is easy. This is actually, I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
It is the closest approximation to what I felt working for a good organization in terms of I like the people I work with, and you know, basketball organization, right? So it's like I'm still with a good team, but there is absolutely no downside as far as like, man, we lost the game. So that was the biggest thing working for a team is right. Like you love the camaraderie and you love the closeness of the people you work with and all that, and thinking that we're all have a vision of trying to go to the same place. And we have this dream of winning a championship, but unfortunately, with having a dream of winning a championship comes the nightmare of not reaching that dream. Mm-hmm. And so the days you win, you feel like you're on top of the world. And the days you lose, you wonder about, like, are we all going to get fired? Like, your brain goes to weird places. And now on this side, I talk hoops. I'm you know, integrated into the NBA conversation. I go to arenas all across the league, and players and coaches and execs, they all know who I am. And so I feel that, like, I'm still in the NBA thing, but they lost tonight, and they go home miserable. And I'm going to go back to my hotel and have a drink. And, like, it's just, that's the greatest thing, is that having a lot of that good feeling without any of the bad.
Good answer. Finally, one very important final question from George. Soft move or boss move? Pronouncing food dishes as if you come from that country. Is it like a croissant or is it a croissant?
I'm kind of guilty of that, man.
Oh, talk to me. It's confession time. It's late. We're getting to the end of the show. I mean,
when I go to Italian restaurants, like I'm that guy.
See, I don't have the confidence for that. I don't have the confidence.
You know
for
what
that.
I do?
You'd be like mozzarella or something.
No, my favorite one is bruschetta. Because it's a hard K, and people say bruschetta. And I look at and when the waiter tries to correct me, I'm like, no.
Mike from Reno, I just want you to know that I don't judge people that have different opinions about hip hop, but if we're out and you say bruschetta, I will apologize on your behalf to our server.
Hey man, you eating Italian food, you pronounce it in the way the Italians want.
And I just want everyone to know, driving your car, as you're driving home, you know we're coming to the end of the segment, that when Amin Elhaasan says bruschetta, he does the thing where he does the north and south OK symbols. It's just a hand thing. Yeah. It's not just the words and the sounds that come out of his mouth that he is. It's also the hand gesture that's Italian.
When I hand the menu, I say grazie.
All right. According to a newly released indictment against Adidas executive Jim Gatto, friend of Jalen,
you implicated.
Patino agreed that Pitino agreed to call Gatto to request that Adidas provide money to the family of recruit Brian Bowen. Now, Pitino has put out a statement via his lawyer saying that's not true. These are just words. So my question for you is more of a macro question than about this particular thing is why Rick Pitino? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Rick Pitino is not the only person that is swimming in these waters.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
So why Rick Pitino?
Oh, man, I think it's kind of one of those things where you got a guy who's already been tarnished with couple of times. So it's one of those things where they're going to make it. The NCAA is all about making an example out of people.
Guess what? We fixed it.
Right. In this case, obviously, it's not the NCAA. It's the feds, right? And they built the case, and it doesn't surprise me that Rick Pitino would be heavily implicated, right? If you had to put money on, like, if you're the feds, like, where's this money trail going to land, right? It's a pretty good bet. Rick Pitino is going to be at the end of them, or at least a stop on many of these trails, allegedly. So
yes.
I think it's kind of an educated guess more than it is, it's just him and no one else is out here doing it.
If you got a call, and it was from Adam Silver, just popped up on your phone, no caller ID, you just decided to pick it up.
Right.
He's like, look, Amin, I watched you late at night on Jalen Jacoby, as I always do, late at night.
Right.
And I heard you're so smart, you're articulate, I really appreciate your opinion, so I wanted to ask you a question. What should we do about the one and done rule? How do we fix this? What would be your answer?
Well, my thing was, I've actually thought about this before. They need to make the D League, and they're trying to do that.
G League.
Or the G League, excuse me. They're trying to make the G League a more attractive destination for kids coming out, want to come out early. Ultimately, I feel like we got to get to a place where it's kind of like baseball. You can come out to the draft out of high school. Or if you choose to go to college,
you can still get drafted, go back to college.
Right.
That sort of thing. They do that in baseball, right? You get drafted when you're 17, and then you end up going to USC or whatever.
I don't know how that works. I don't know why baseball players allowed to do that and basketball players aren't. I feel like that's an NCAA thing and not us because we don't care. Remember, there was a kid, I forgot his Randolph Morris. Remember him? Randolph Morris is this big man. He went to Kentucky. And then he declared for the draft, but didn't get drafted, but then he got to go back to Kentucky. He went to the
little loophole.
Yeah, went back to Kentucky, and then as soon as their season was over, because he'd been through the draft the year before, he didn't have to wait for the draft. He went and signed.
Oh, he just got scooped.
Yeah. So, but the NCAA has a lot of ways of shutting down the loophole.
Adam Silver's on the phone right now. He's like, "You're off track here, Amin. You're getting off track, Amin. I got very limited time."
But the point being is, I think you do it like that because the truly precocious talents who are good enough to get drafted right now,
yes,
they should come play in the league right now. There's no sense in making them wait. But if you go somewhere, then you got to stay there. Now, whether that somewhere is college or the G League or overseas, I don't care. But I just think that that's a nice way to kind of separate between the one and dones who truly is good enough to be playing the league right now and they're just going to college.
And if you go to college, you can come out whenever you want. After 1 year, after 2 years, after whatever.
No, I would say after 2 years.
After 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. If you come out after your first year, you go straight to the G League and holler.
Adam Silver really appreciates your advice. I want you to know that.
He does.
So now we get to talk about what I want to talk about. In Australia, they have this program. Sort of revenge porn is a phenomenon that's happening.
Right.
People leaking each other's nudes and whatever. Australia Facebook has a program where if you're concerned that intimate photos of yourself are going to be shared online, you fill out a form on the eSafety Commissioner's website, and then you upload the photo yourself via Facebook Messenger.
Gotcha.
So they know if this photo pops up, then I will not use it.
Right.
So essentially, Australian Facebook is saying, send nudes.
Send us your nudes, yes.
And to keep them safe, send them to me.
Send us your poor huddled masses and your nudes.
How effective do you think this is going to be?
This is an excellent hustle. No, for the guy who's the guy's in charge of this program.
Just doing quality control, boss. Just quality control over here. Just going through these nudes.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to upload a single one of these things.
I'm still stuck on last Tuesday, boss. I'm trying to catch up here.
This is not really happening in real life. Because the image matching technology will be automatic and will turn the photo into trash. I don't believe that for a second.
Oh, so he doesn't actually see them, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I didn't even see the picture.
No. It's a technology. It's an algorithm. It's image matching technology.
But here's a better solution, by the way. Stop taking nudes, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I'm not into that.
We're also old, though.
Yeah, we are old.
We're old. You know, I think young people, it's just like, it's just normal. It's like a love letter. You know?
My dearest Clementine.
Exactly.
It has been 3 years.
So Deltona, Florida, there's a couple. They have a door that's broken.
Okay.
Right? Door's broken. They call a landlord. Landlord's really dragging their feet about fixing it. The door doesn't lock. And they're very upset about this.
Right. So they took them to small claims court.
No.
No? Okay.
What they did is they staged a home invasion and shot themselves.
What?
And it was all a ploy to then sue the landlord for not fixing the door.
Nice.
What? Adam Silver also called these people to get their thoughts on the one and done rule as well. Didn't go as well, though. But
here's what you do.
How do you think they got this idea?
Stu Gatz on the Dan Le Batard show has this character called the Sports Whisperer.
Okay.
And it's
I'm familiar.
Whenever these big stories break, for those who don't know, when these big stories break, you wonder, how does that happen? Stu Gatz imagines this character who's telling Jerry, this is what you need to do. And this is what happened. Someone whispered this idea into their ears, because there's no way people rationally sitting around and said, this is how we teach them a lesson.
Here's the thing that I don't understand. Can't you just stage the home invasion without shooting yourself? Like, doesn't it seem like a
stuff?
Or like, I'd be like, Steve,
ransack the place.
Steve, I'm going to shoot you, but you don't also have to shoot me. You know what I mean?
Maybe we get tied up, right?
Yeah, something like that. Like we should tone this whole thing down. They went to 0 to shooting themselves.
No, it has to be
way too quickly.
It has to be realistic. They have to know.
The Pistons.
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. 2 years ago, they're in the playoffs. They give Cleveland the top 4. I know they got swept, but they gave them everything they could handle.
I think they were ahead in 3 of those 4 games. That was half.
That was the hardest series for the Cavs, other than the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So we all had this expectation.
That Stanley Johnson LeBron matchup thing, like that was weird. Stanley Johnson was like giving LeBron a go.
I mean, like this was the thing that we were thinking. Okay. This is a team that's a rising Eastern Conference power. Mm-hmm. Not going to the finals, but I'm just saying this is one we got to put a pin in, because they'll be around. And then last year, they were awful. And I kind of feel like if you removed last year and you just jumped from 2 years ago to now, you'd be like, yeah, you're right on track. But because last year was so awful, this seems like this. Where did this come from? How is this possible? Is it even real? I think it is real. We had Avery Bradley on the jump last week. And
I love Avery Bradley.
Yeah, and
also love the jump.
Yeah, see, 2 great pieces of content coming together. I just call Avery Bradley a piece of content.
He is a piece of content.
But
everyone is. It's 2017.
Yeah, there you go. We're very woke of you. But yeah, he was talking about kind of what he feels like he's brought to the table there, coming from not only Boston's been pretty good, but also people forget he played with KG and he played with Paul Pierce and all those guys. So he's kind of bringing a level of veteran leadership. Not that he's a lot older than everybody on that team, but just he's seen some things, especially, and seen some success that they haven't seen.
Yep.
And so I think you combine that with Andre Drummond seems confident at the free throw stripe now, even though he went 0 for 7 last night. I
believe in Stan Van.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I believe in Stan Van Gundy.
But it only works to a point, right? Because last year it reached a point where, all right, Stan, you're the not only the coach but the president, but those guys in that locker room don't seem to care anymore.
Reggie Jackson had like 1 foot out of the door at the trade deadline. Like Reggie Jackson was not on the team.
Andre Drummond had 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Things were going to change. Like I'm surprised that we went through that trade deadline with both of those players staying in Detroit. I'm sure a lot of phone calls were made to get those players out of town.
And so here we are, and part of it is guys growing and mature, and maybe Stan also looked at the things that he was doing as far as his communication style, because that's been a thing in the past, right? And then you guys like Avery Bradley are coming in and voices of reason and advocates, and then some of it is just guys get better. Tobias Harris is having a great year.
He is. He's a legit second option, we'll call him. Maybe their first option.
Well, for them,
I think he's their first option.
He's their first option. Yes.
Yeah, it's like give it to Drummond in the post every time down the floor. Same question about the Memphis Grizzlies.
That one, it's real in the sense that people kind of forget. Marc Gasol and Mike Conley are really good.
Yes.
And I think we gloss over that a lot, particularly Mike Conley. Like, if Mike Conley played in the Eastern Conference, he would be a perennial all-star. A perennial all-star, right? Yeah. But it just so happens he doesn't.
Of course.
And so
behind people that he should be behind, like Steph Curry.
Right. Like, it's not his
Russell
fault.
Westbrook, yeah.
And it's not because he's not good. It's just that he's playing behind Hall of Famers, really. Or playing alongside Hall of Famers in this conference.
MVPs. All of them are basically MVPs, except for Harden.
Pretty much. And his time is probably coming, right? So, like, we kind of jumped the gun. We're like, yeah, Memphis is about to fall apart. Like, no, they're still really good.
I'm about to say something into a microphone that no one said in like 6 years. I watched a Memphis game. Chandler Parsons didn't look bad. The numbers aren't there, but I watched. I was like, he's moving well, super confident. He's got that great jump shot. I was like, is Chandler Parsons going to turn into Chandler Parsons again?
He's out there. That's an improvement, right?
Yes, he's
playing basketball.
Yes, he can move.
That is a step in the right direction.
Feet. But I was watching it and I was surprised because I had completely written him off as a human being that plays basketball well. And he's still, I don't know, he's not getting that many minutes or that many points. But I watched it, I was like, this could happen for Chandler Parsons again.
Ironically, all they really need is for him to be a spacer and a kind of secondary playmaker.
Paying him a lot more than that.
Look, but I'm just saying, they were also paying him a lot more to not play basketball, which is what was happening since he signed that deal. So just at this point, it's like, can you just give me this much?
Of course. Portland Trailblazers. 6-5. Kind of where you expect them to be?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think when you talk about their backcourt, inherently you're always going to talk about a little bit of duplication. Both the guys are great guys and great players, and I think they enjoy each other.
Sure.
It's not
they're
like
really good friends. They live with their moms. They hang out all the time.
It's not like, sometimes when we say like, oh, that won't work, people think of like, oh, because they're fighting, like, I should get the last shot. It's like, it's not even like that. It's just, I think, the best basketball teams in general, regardless of what style of play is you have different people doing different roles.
You don't have the redundancy.
Complements. You have complements and not supplements, really. So they supplement one another, and you kind of need something that fits a little better. And they're going to be good, and I think they're going to be a playoff team. But this is about where they are.
They're going to do what they do. They're going to lose in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the first round.
Probably.
That's what's going to happen.
Probably.
Because it's sometimes you see the fastball coming right at you, and you don't move out of the way, and you just let it hit you. It's like, that's what's going to happen. Sorry, Portland. I love Portland. I know Trailblazers fans are very passionate, but it feels like a first-round loss again.
If you're a Western Conference team, the goal is to get to 5, right? Because you got a chance against 4.
Oh, I thought you meant get to Game 5
against
the Warriors. You want to get to Game 5 against the Warriors. That's what you want. You just don't want to get swept. You want to get one game against the Warriors.
That's a goal too. But yeah, you want to get to the 5 seed, right? Because then you got a chance.
Yes.
The playoff bonus check gets a little fatter. You get a little bit of momentum. You never know what might happen. Someone might get hurt. Of course. So 5 is where you're trying to get to. 6, 7, 8, you're pretty much going to the gallows.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Gallinari.
Next, we have this. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. If you leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the show just like this.
What up, though, Jacoby, Amin, and my man, Big Al. This is your boy, Uncle Mar, executive producer. You already know. Shout out Big Crown. Shout out Matthias. Shout out Reggie. I actually got a question for both of you guys. Maybe both of you guys can help me out. I'm a big New York Knicks fan, diehard fan. And I just want to know, does anybody have any idea what is going on with the whole Joakim Noah story? Like, I saw something about they was trying to move, I think, Chris Minskis, trying to move him to try to make room for Noah. But, like, what is going on? Like, I didn't even know Noah was even still on the team. So can you guys, like, enlighten me on what's going on with the Joakim Noah situation? And if he is on the team, how much playing time do you see this man getting with the whole starting lineup now that we really have Cantor that's really putting up numbers and really contributing, especially with Quincy too. So hope you guys answer my question. As always, keep getting us checks.
Huge shout to Uncle Mar. Uncle Mar is one of our co-producers. He always tweets questions to us, good questions to us. He listens to the show. So one thing Uncle Mar did, which is always a boss move, I call him a co-producer on the show. These are our co-producers.
He gave himself a
bump, a title bump. Yeah. Like everybody on their GPA, on their resume. You know, he's like, why not? Like,
3.8.
Yeah, sure, 3.7. Why not? So Uncle Mar just gave himself a promotion, and he deserves it. Good for Uncle Mar. You're now an executive producer. Big Crown, don't get jealous. No. Don't get jealous, Big Crown. So his question, yes, Joakim Noah is on the Knicks.
Yes.
They have 15 players in the Knicks, and they need a roster spot. Bad time for Kuzminkas to start complaining about his role.
Yeah.
Bad time for the Kuz to start getting lippy when you know someone's got to get off the team. Also, bad time for Kyle Kuzma to take your nickname too.
Yeah,
he's now the second. He's the second banana Kuz in the league right now.
He got Wally pipped on that one.
He did. Kuz had some moments last year, but something tells me that his moments are no longer going to be in the New York Knickerbocker uniform.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. So Joakim Noah is suspended to start the season for a violation of substance abuse policy.
Who can imagine what that would be?
Well, look, I'm not here to speculate.
No, if you Google Joakim Noah bong,
I'm not here to speculate, sir.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just saying. If you Google that, perhaps you can get where you're going.
So anyway, because he was on the inactive list or disabled list or whatever, so they had an extra spot basically. But now he's coming back. So they have to open a roster spot. And so now, this is what you're talking about. Kuzminskis haven't been playing.
Complaining about it, talking about what a great summer he had.
And when you talk about opening a roster spot in the NBA, usually the goal is, if you can't, if it comes down to we can't trade anybody, we have to cut somebody, it's usually going to be the cheapest person. Because these contracts are mostly guaranteed.
They're guaranteed.
So, yeah.
Some tells me Kuz will be going up to Westchester to play with the Westchester Knicks.
Maybe he might get picked up. He get waived.
We'll see.
And,
We'll see. But Uncle Mar, to get to your second part of the question is, how many minutes do you think he'll get? Not many,
dude. Especially now they're winning.
Not many.
They're not rocking this boat.
There's not a lot of spots for Joakim Noah. Every once in a while, Porzingis has to come out.
Right. I think the thing that, on a serious basketball note, Porzingis plays really well as a 5, and so to put Noah out there with Porzingis would move Porzingis to a less advantageous position, and such as we want him to be his fullest potential, which leads to greater potential success for the team. That means there's not too many minutes available for Joakim Noah.
As a die-easy Knicks fan, last year Porzingis came out and said he didn't want to play the 5.
They all say that.
And I was just like, listen, Kristaps, you're 7'3". Have you seen the way that this is going? Where else are you going to play? Where else are you going to play, man?
Dude, we had to fight with Sean Marion for years. To tell him you need to play the 4. He won't be a small forward. Dude, at the power forward, you're unstoppable because you're so much quicker than everybody else. And your athletic gifts shine. As a 3, your faults start to come out. Your inability to create off the dribble, your inconsistent perimeter jump shot. So in Porzingis' case, as a 4, he's tall, but he's not really that strong, so he's not really deboing people. But as a 5, now you've got the ability to go around guys and stretch out the floor and all this stuff. So, teams can't get away with just putting a smaller guy on you.
I want to thank Amin for coming by. I appreciate Amin.
No, thanks for having me.
I want to give a big shout to Al Harrington for coming by and talking about medicinal marijuana, and David Stern. And we'll be back tomorrow, potentially with Jalen Rose. Hopefully not.